So my task here is to present on an action research that was conducted here at the ECC, looking at the effectiveness of the Edusoft platform in improving students' academic achievement in CSEC mathematics. Volry 2000 says, if universities do not embrace e-learning technology that is readily available, they'll be left behind in the pursuits of globalization. And this is in deep contrast to what Dr. B did earlier. Her research is more qualitative. I am quantitative, so I'm the opposite of what it is that she would have done. So this fulsome research was conducted looking at a classroom. So as a result of that, the sample size was small because it wasn't a broad-scale research. It was a classroom action research. I used a mixed method, so having gotten the questionnaires from the students, I also used observations, and I also conducted interviews. So this comprehensive assessment system, what it does is that students will start off with their learning activities. They will learn concepts by doing their tutorials, their examples, reinforce materials, and they test how fast they can respond. This online learning is as if you have online notes that we call tutorials. So it's like having your own online textbooks, all right? So students are then, when they would have gone through their learning activities, their LAs, they would have moved now to their homework activities. The computer automatically marks the assessments, and then the students can view their result page with the solution and the diagnostics from each assessment conducted. If the student did not do very well, the system actually prescribes a diagnostic prescriptive approach where it is that it takes the student back to the learning activities in that green line, because it says that the system would recognize that the students really don't understand the concepts that were done, and it takes the students back to the learning activities. If the student did pretty well, and my class or classes, I think I set the minimum mark to be 60%. If students would have done pretty well, it ought to 60% as a minimum, And if students did pretty well, then they are allowed to move on to their quizzes. Having done their quizzes, they can move on into doing their retaking, if it is allowed by the instructor, and it goes back into the diagnostic approach. All of this is automatic. All of these grades are automatically stored on the learning management system. One of my first questions was, how effective is Edusoft platform in improving students' academic performance in CSEC mathematics? Now, that is what the platform interface looks like. Here, it shows that in this particular semester, the students spent 441 minutes on tutorials. I have the liberty of seeing my students and how much it is that they are reading. One of the good things about this, and I'm very happy of it, is that coming out of this research, some recommendations were made to the principal in terms of reducing our class sizes. We had sometimes as many as 45 students in a class, but our lab space at a max for most of the labs was 25. And outside from this research, the recommendations were adhered to, and the class sizes were reduced to 25. So you'll not find a math class size now greater than 25 because we don't have the lab facilities to house more than 25 students. And as a matter of fact, the CSEC math lecturers are all now using Edusoft in the whole teaching and learning process. We also increase, outside of this research, from the research, we increase the time from 4 contact hours to now 6 hours, where those 2 additional hours are to be used specifically for their online classes. We're looking at several different things, because once it is that you're talking about e-learning environments within schools, we have to look at ICT infrastructure, ICT leadership, ICT capacity, and student training and initiatives. And it is very important, very, very important that we have all of those. So this is what I was telling about ITEL, Intelligent Teaching and Learning with Computers. What was also important that the ICT department did was to increase our bandwidth, so it is that students were able to access the platform not only from the computers, but from their smartphones, their tablets, etc., etc.